So, I had this moment this morning. I was trying to find a recipe, just as a simple pasta sauce, and the website pops up asking if I wanted its AI assistant to customize my meal plan
Oh, wow. Based on what?
based on my metabolic profile.
Sir, a bowl of pasta. That's a
That's
lot.
so much. And then I open my email, and my CRM is offering to AI optimize my subject lines. The news is just endless headlines about neural networks, LLMs. It feels like you can't open a browser or even like a smart fridge without getting hit by the AI label. It's just everywhere.
It is. It's overwhelming.
And I think for a lot of us, that creates this weird mix of excitement and, let's be honest, a massive amount of anxiety.
Absolutely. We're drowning in the buzzwords.
Okay.
And the fatigue, I think, comes from the fact that 90% of it just feels like marketing fluff.
Right.
Everyone is just slapping an AI sticker on their product. And that is exactly why today's deep dive is, I think, can be such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
We're not looking at some flashy product launch.
Yeah.
We are dissecting a really dense, practical industry session by Mr. Nitin Baser.
Right. And Baser isn't just a hype man. He's a chief coach, a strategist. He's been in the trenches with companies like Big to Square and Euphoria Consulting. So he's dealing with the operational reality.
Exactly. And his whole mission in this session was to cut through that noise. He actually starts with this fascinating friction, a debate, really, between Gartner and Sadhguru.
That's a pairing I did not see coming. The corporate analyst and the mystic.
It's a great way to frame it, though. In one corner, you've got Gartner predicting trillions in spending, productivity booms,
Mm-hmm.
the whole economic argument.
You're looking at the spreadsheets.
hmm And in the other corner, you have figures like Sadhguru asking these huge existential questions, like,
Hmm.
is AI the new God? Are we creating something that will supersede us?
So theology versus the economy.
Precisely. But Baser's goal isn't to pick a side there. He wants to just ignore the theology and the trillions for a minute and get down to the mechanics. How does this stuff actually work? And are we, as professionals, ready for it?
A back to basics, but better approach. I like it. And he promised to decode some of the stuff that usually makes my eyes glaze over, like NLP and the difference between UI and UX.
Oh, the bungalow analogy.
Yes, let me tell you, that analogy completely changed how I see app design.
It's fantastic. But before we get to the bungalow, we have to start with the bill,
The bill, you mean like the price tag?
the literal cost of intelligence. Baser starts with this reality check that I think a lot of people miss. We assume because our phones are getting faster and cheaper and ChatGPT has a free tier, that AI itself must be cheap.
Right. But he points out that while computing power, Moore's law is getting more accessible.
AI is costly,
Very costly.
incredibly resource intensive. Every
Okay.
time you type a prompt into ChatGPT or Grok, you're not just, summoning text from the ether. There is a massive data center somewhere, humming with electricity, running huge cooling systems.
So when I ask it to, I don't know, write a haiku about a ham sandwich, that actually costs real dollars in operations.
It does. It's called inference cost. And that's why businesses have to be so strategic about it. It's not free magic. It's a utility that burns cash.
Okay, so let's unpack the magic itself. Baser makes a very clear distinction between AI and ML
Which get used interchangeably all the time.
all the time. So AI is the big marketing umbrella, right?
Mm.
Artificial intelligence.
Correct. AI is the broad concept, the dream of a machine acting smart. But machine learning, or ML, that's the subset where the actual work happens. It's the learning part.
Yeah.
And he uses this personal story that explains it perfectly. He talks about teaching his son to drive.
I remember this. He said he taught his son to drive in India, which, having seen traffic videos from Mumbai, that feels like a trial by fire.
It's absolute chaos management. But the logic he uses is so sound. If you teach your son to drive in India, he should, in theory, be able to drive in France or the US or anywhere.
He doesn't need to relearn what a steering wheel is just because the scenery changed.
Exactly. You're teaching the skill of driving, not just how to memorize one specific roadmap of Mumbai.
Okay, and that's machine learning.
That is the goal of ML. Traditional coding is like giving someone a map for one road. If that road changes, the code breaks. ML is teaching the system to drive, to recognize patterns, make decisions, and adapt, so it can apply that knowledge across different domains.
It's transferable intelligence.
It is. If I teach a machine to recognize patterns in text, it should be able to help me write a legal contract or a marketing email. It's the same driving skill applied to different countries of data.
Speaking of text, let's talk NLP, natural language processing. I'll be honest, for the longest time when I heard language processing, I just assumed the language was, computer languages, Python, Java.
Right. That is a really common misconception. Baser actually gives a little pop quiz in his session about it. He asks if the L in LLM is for code or spoken language.
And it's spoken, human language.
It is. And we kind of gloss over this now, but that is a huge historical shift. Think about the first computers. They were basically just calculators.
Zeros and ones.
Right. To get an answer, you had to speak their language. You had to learn the syntax, the command lines, the punch cards.
The barrier to entry was so high you had to be a programmer.
And NLP completely flips that.
Yeah.
It's the bridge that lets us ask questions in our own tongue, English, Hindi, whatever, and have the machine process it. It turns human curiosity into something a computer can understand.
So it's making the computer bilingual. It speaks math, but now it also speaks human.
That's a great way to put it. It democratizes access. You don't need a computer science degree anymore, you just need to know how to speak.
But knowing how to speak to the machine is one thing. How the machine presents information back to us, that brings us to that bungalow analogy I teased.
Yes. The difference between UI user interface and UX user experience.
And I feel like I use these terms as synonyms all the time. Oh, the UX on this app is great, when I really just mean it looks pretty.
Most people do. But Baser draws this really sharp architectural line between them. He asks us to imagine a large bungalow.
Okay, picturing it. Big house, nice grounds.
Right. It has a big front gate. There's a paved driveway that loops around to drop you off right at the porch. And then there's a garage. That structure, the gate, the concrete, the path the architect built, that is the user interface, the UI.
Okay, so the UI is the paved road. It's the buttons on my screen. It's the layout.
It's what the developer made, exactly. Now imagine the son or daughter of the house comes home from school. They're tired. They don't want to walk that long, formal loop up the driveway. What do?
They cut across the grass.
They cut across the garden. They jump a small hedge and run straight to the porch to get inside faster.
And that behavior is the user experience.
Bingo. The UX is the behavior. It's how the user actually interacts with what you've built to get their goal done. The architect built a driveway, the UI, but the user just wanted a shortcut, the UX.
That is so clear. You can build a beautiful interface, a perfectly paved driveway, but if the experience is clunky, people will just run across the grass.
And if you don't plan for that, you end up with a frustrated user. Baser gives a great tech example of this, Apple versus Android from a few years back.
The thumb thing.
The thumb thing. Apple realized early on, looking at their demographics, specifically Americans, that they generally have thicker thumbs than some Asian demographics where other phones were being designed.
So they just made the tap targets, the buttons, physically larger on the screen.
Right. The button size is the UI. That's the paved road. But the fact that you don't get frustrated because you're not accidentally hitting the wrong key with your thumb, that is the UX. They designed the interface for a smooth experience.
I love that. It shows that good tech isn't just about code. It's about understanding human behavior, human anatomy even.
Which is the perfect transition to where this is actually running in the wild. We've covered the theory, but Baser goes deep into industry applications. He starts with finance.
And he used another car analogy here, which was really helpful. The difference between business intelligence, BI, and actual AI.
Yes. In the corporate world, everyone talks about BI, dashboards, and reports. Baser says, imagine you're driving a car. BI is your rear view mirror.
It shows you what's already behind you.
Exactly. Balance sheets, last year's performance. It's static data about the past. It's important. You have to check your mirrors, but you can't drive looking only at the rear view mirror.
You'll crash. Or at least you'll never see the pothole coming.
Right. AI, on the other hand, is the windshield and the dashboard. It's predictive. It's telling you what is coming.
So instead of a report saying, we lost money last quarter, the AI says, we are going to lose money next month if we don't change X and Y.
Correct. It shifts the business from reactive to proactive. In finance, this is algorithmic trading or real-time fraud detection. It's not reporting that money was stolen yesterday. It's flagging a transaction as it happens because it predicts it looks suspicious.
That predictive power is huge. But where I think it gets really personal is in healthcare. Baser talks about pattern matching as the core superpower of AI here.
Pattern matching is everything. It's the engine of modern diagnostics. And he uses this great non-medical analogy to explain it. The shirt salesman.
Oh, this was good. We've all met this person.
You walk into a shop, a really sharp salesperson talks to you for maybe 10 minutes. In that time, they figure out you like cotton, you prefer a Chinese collar, you tend toward blue.
They've matched your pattern. They aren't just guessing anymore.
Exactly. Now, apply that same intuition to a massive data set of genetics or pathology.
So instead of matching me to a blue cotton shirt, it's matching my genetic markers to what? Potential health outcomes.
Precisely. He mentions autism research. By analyzing the genetic patterns of parents, AI might be able to identify the probability of autism in a child long before symptoms appear. It's looking for that Chinese collar preference, but deep in your DNA.
That's incredible. And he also mentioned care homes, right?
Yes, health tech startups using AI for speech and video analysis in care homes for autistic clients. It's monitoring behavior patterns. Again, watching for a routine and alerting humans when something breaks that pattern.
Breaking the pattern is a perfect segue to cybersecurity. Because I think most of us imagine cybersecurity is just looking for bad code or a virus file.
That's the old way. The new way is behavioral intrusion detection, and it's all about pattern matching. Baser gives this really specific example of an employee's morning routine.
The morning coffee routine.
Let's say an employee, Dave. Every day, Dave comes in, sits down, takes him about 7 minutes to boot up, open his browser, he has Internet Explorer as the example, which is hilarious, and log into the HR portal. 7 minutes. That's his pattern.
Okay, his digital fingerprint.
Exactly. Now imagine one day that same login sequence happens in 20 seconds.
Whoa, okay. So Dave didn't suddenly become a superhuman typist.
Right. A human physically can't do that.
Yeah.
So the AI flags it. Not because the password was wrong, a hacker might have the correct password, but because the behavior is an anomaly. It spots the break in the human pattern.
That makes so much sense. It's not checking your ID card, it's checking your gait. It's checking how you walk.
Perfectly said. It validates the user, not just the credentials.
So we have these incredible tools. We have the predictive windshield in finance, the genetic salesman in healthcare. But it all leads to that big, scary question. Is this stuff going to replace us, the human element?
And Baser is very firm on this. He says AI is a tool, not a replacement, but with a major, major caveat.
If you adapt.
Yes,
Yeah.
you have to adapt. He lists 2 non-negotiable skills, and the first one might be a hard pill to swallow for some people.
Math and data.
He didn't sugarcoat it. He said if you hate numbers, finance and AI are going to be very, very hard for you. You don't have to be a mathematician, but you have to be comfortable with the logic of data.
But the second one, and this was highlighted as a red and white priority in his talk, was communication.
Which is fascinating, isn't it? You'd think the top priority would be advanced Python or something.
Right. I expected coding.
But think about it. The AI can write the code. The
Okay.
AI can crunch the numbers. But who explains that to the CEO? Who translates that data into a story that convinces a client to change their strategy?
That's the human's job.
Right. Coding is the syntax.
Yeah.
Communication is the meaning. Being able to explain what the data says, to translate that predictive windshield into a route map for the business, that is where the human value lies. The AI is the engine, but you are the navigator.
So we need to be translators, speak machine well enough to get the data, and human well enough to sell the insight.
We do. And to stay relevant as translators, we have to keep learning. Baser gave some pretty aggressive advice here. Do you remember the slap yourself comment?
I do. I laughed out loud. He said, if you go to bed without learning something new today, slap yourself.
Is tough love. But his point is valid. He talks about his own history, learning languages like Fortran and COBOL from physical books.
With no Command F to search anything.
With no scanners, no Stack Overflow, no YouTube tutorials. He had to type code from a book just to see if it worked.
And his point is, today we have Kaggle, GitHub, AI tutors. We have zero excuse.
Exactly. The industry changes weekly. What you learn in university might be obsolete 6 months after you graduate. His message is that continuous learning isn't a nice to have, it's survival. You have to be building projects.
He suggested building a chatbot that just tells you the dinner menu.
Right. It doesn't have to be the next Facebook. Just build something. It demystifies the tech. Once you build it, you stop fearing it.
I really like that. Don't just read about it. Get your hands dirty.
It's the only way.
So let's wrap this up. We've gone from the cost of a ChatGPT prompt to the bungalow garden shortcut, the windshield of finance, the behavioral patterns of cybersecurity.
And the bottom line seems to be that AI is a powerful engine, but we are still the drivers.
Yeah.
We just need to learn how to drive this new car.
I love it. Now, before we go, you usually have a final thought for us, something to chew on.
I do, and this comes from a very heavy comment Baser made near the end about bias. He used a historical example. the practice of sati in India, to explain how incorrect societal information creates biased behaviors.
That's a very serious example.
It is, but he uses it to illustrate a mechanism. He said bias is formed when incorrect or harmful information is accepted by a society as normal. Now, apply that mechanism to AI.
Because AI learns from us.
It scrapes the internet, it reads our history, our forums, our opinions, our flaws. It absorbs our normal.
So if we are biased, the AI becomes biased.
If the parent has flaws, the child learns them. So the question I want to leave you with is this. If AI is just scaling up human intelligence, are we at risk of just scaling up our own flaws? And if so, how do we parent this new intelligence to be better than us, rather than just a faster, more efficient version of our worst habits?
That's going to keep me up tonight. How do we teach the machine to be better than its teacher?
That's the ultimate design challenge.
On that note, I think I'm going to go learn one new thing before I go to sleep. I really don't want to have to slap myself.
Safety first.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.